Life often tests us in the most unexpected ways. For Thomas Gray, CEO of Gray Enterprises, everything seemed perfect. He had a thriving career, a loving wife named Evelyn, and a happy family with their 6-year-old son, Oliver. But everything changed on an autumn afternoon when a car accident took Evelyn away. In a single moment, Thomas lost the love of his life, and Oliver lost the mother he adored. Thomas, a man known for his strength and decisiveness in the boardroom, now faced the greatest loss of his life. Balancing his career and fatherhood felt like an insurmountable challenge as grief threatened to consume him. Yet, hope has a way of appearing in the most unexpected forms. When Oliver began retreating into himself after losing his mother, Thomas hired Mia, a young and passionate woman, to care for his son. What started as a practical solution soon turned into a journey of healing, not just for Oliver, but for Thomas as well. Evelyn Gray was the heart of her family. She brought warmth and happiness to Thomas and Oliver, making their small home overflow with joy. But one fateful afternoon, a car accident took Evelyn away, leaving Thomas and Oliver to face an unbearable loss. Oliver, once a lively and curious 6-year-old, grew quiet and withdrawn. Despite his best efforts, Thomas realized that his demanding career and responsibilities as a CEO left him struggling to provide Oliver with the attention he needed. On the advice of his younger brother Andrew, Thomas hired Mia, an 18-year-old recent high school graduate. Mia entered their lives with bright eyes, a gentle smile, and a heart full of compassion. At first, Mia was simply Oliver's caretaker. She helped him with homework, played games with him, and comforted him when memories of his mother brought him to tears. But Mia's patience and genuine kindness soon did more than anyone could have imagined. Within months, she brought laughter back into Oliver's days and began to make their house feel alive again. Over 2 years, the bond between them deepened. Mia became more than just a nanny. She became a friend, a source of comfort, and an integral part of Thomas and Oliver's lives. Mia quickly formed a bond with Oliver, not just out of duty, but from a place of genuine love. She sang lullabies during sleepless nights, made him laugh with her playful antics, and even convinced him to eat his vegetables, a feat no one else in the family had ever managed. Thomas, while trying to maintain his emotional distance, couldn't help but notice the tenderness Mia brought into their lives. She gave Oliver the sense of love and care that Thomas had feared his son might never experience. At first, Thomas stayed within the safety of his grief, reluctant to open his heart. But small moments began to chip away at his defenses. Mia's soft smile when Oliver first called her Mimi, or the way she unknowingly sang Evelyn's favorite lullaby, the same one Thomas used to hum to Evelyn during their happiest days. Mornings became a time of quiet joy as Mia introduced a new tradition, family pancake breakfasts. She brought warmth and laughter into the kitchen, transforming it from a cold, functional space into a place filled with life. During these moments, Thomas realized that the weight of his sorrow no longer defined the house. Instead, Oliver and Mia had turned it into a home where hope began to flourish. One evening, Thomas walked in to find Mia reading a bedtime story to Oliver. Her voice was calm and nurturing, and Oliver listened with rapt attention. In that moment, Thomas saw something he thought he'd never see again after Evelyn's passing: the image of a family. It was a quiet yet powerful feeling, one that planted a seed in his heart he could no longer ignore. Mia entered Thomas and Oliver's lives like a gentle breeze, bringing warmth to a home that had long been cold. But for Thomas, letting a stranger into their lives wasn't easy. He was still haunted by the loss of Evelyn and hesitant to open his heart to someone new. At first, Thomas kept his distance. He often watched Mia quietly, noting how she cared for Oliver with effortless devotion. Mia wasn't just doing her job. She listened to Oliver's stories, shared in his memories of his mother, and offered comfort without ever trying to replace Evelyn. One afternoon, Thomas walked into the kitchen to find Mia struggling to fix a jammed cabinet. "Let me help," he offered, even though he rarely involved himself in household tasks. Mia hesitated for a moment before smiling and stepping aside. Together, they worked on the cabinet, Thomas holding the tools while Mia steadied the door. When they finally fixed it, both laughed at the smudges of dust on their faces. "I guess you're not just a CEO after all," Mia teased, and for the first time in a while, Thomas felt his heart lighten. Moments like these began to happen more often. One evening, as Mia cleaned up after dinner, Thomas unexpectedly took the dish towel from her hands. "You've done enough. Let me help," he said. Mia, initially surprised, let him take over. As they worked side by side, their hands occasionally brushed, each touch small but meaningful. Another time, Thomas returned home late to find Mia still in the living room reading Oliver's favorite story for the third time that day. When Oliver fell asleep, Thomas quietly stepped in, taking a blanket from Mia's hands to cover his son. "Thank you," he whispered, his eyes filled with gratitude. Slowly but surely, Thomas realized that Mia's presence didn't just bring joy to Oliver. It brought him a sense of peace and healing. Mia didn't try to replace Evelyn, but she filled the emptiness with her patience, humor, and a heart full of love. Mia, through these everyday interactions, began to notice a change in Thomas too. The man who once seemed distant now showed small acts of kindness, making her coffee in the morning or asking if she needed anything. These little gestures warmed her heart, though she tried to keep her feelings in check to avoid complicating their relationship. Yet, no matter how much they tried to hide their emotions, these moments of closeness became the building blocks of something deeper, slowly igniting a flame of affection in both their hearts. By the time Oliver turned 8, he had grown into a perceptive and clever boy. He noticed how his father's gaze often lingered on Mia as she moved about the house, and how Mia's smile softened whenever she saw Thomas. Without needing to be told, Oliver knew there was something special between them, something neither of them seemed ready to admit. Thus, Operation Love was born. Armed with his favorite purple notebook, Oliver began jotting down ideas. Make Dad notice how beautiful Mia is. Create opportunities for them to spend time together. And remind them they're already a family. Oliver's plans started small. He intentionally spilled milk in the kitchen so Mia and Thomas would have to clean it up together. Another time, he convinced his dad to buy wildflowers, Mia's favorite, and left a note on Thomas's desk that read, "Sometimes, the best things in life are right in front of us." But not everything went smoothly. Eleanor, Thomas's mother, began to notice the growing closeness between Mia and her son. To Eleanor, Mia was just a young caretaker, someone unworthy of the prestigious Gray family name. At a family gathering, she voiced her disapproval, insisting that Thomas needed a suitable wife, not an ordinary nanny. Eleanor's words left Mia feeling uneasy, as if she didn't belong. But Oliver, despite his young age, stood up for her. He told his grandmother, "Mia doesn't just take care of me, she loves me, and she makes our house feel warm like it used to. I want her to stay with us forever." Oliver's heartfelt words struck a chord in Thomas. He realized that no matter the obstacles, be it societal judgment or family expectations, he had to fight for the love and happiness that both he and Oliver deserved. Oliver's words at the family gathering silenced everyone, but for Thomas, they were a call to action. He stood, facing his mother with a calm yet resolute voice. "Mother," he began, his tone steady but full of emotion, "Mia isn't just a nanny. She has spent the past 2 years loving Oliver as her own and bringing life back to this house. I love her, and no one, not even you, can make me doubt that." Thomas's declaration left Mia stunned. She had long kept her feelings hidden, never daring to hope they might be returned. But the sincerity in Thomas's gaze was undeniable, and it broke down every wall she had built around her heart. Eleanor, surprised by her son's conviction, remained silent for what felt like an eternity. Finally, she sighed and said softly, "If this is what you truly believe, then I won't stand in your way." Eleanor's reluctant acceptance was a significant victory, but societal judgment still loomed large. Gossip about the nanny and the late wife spread through the neighborhood. Yet instead of hiding, Thomas chose to confront it head-on. He attended a charity event with Mia by his side, proudly introducing her as the most important woman in his life. Though the stares and whispers persisted, he held Mia's hand firmly throughout the evening. For Mia, the strength she felt from Thomas's unwavering support was more powerful than any disapproving glance. A week later, in the Gray family's blooming garden, Thomas knelt down and proposed to Mia. You've given me and Oliver a life I never thought we'd find again. Will you marry me, be Oliver's mother, and help us build a complete family?" Tears streaming down her cheeks, Mia nodded. "Yes, I will." Thomas and Mia's wedding took place in the garden, a place that had symbolized hope and love throughout their journey. Wildflowers, Mia's favorite, intertwined with white lilies, Evelyn's beloved blooms, creating stunning arrangements that honored both the past and the present. At the center of it all was Oliver, proudly holding the rings in his small hands as the honorary chairman of Operation Love. In his tiny suit and polished shoes, he stood tall between his father and Mia, his wide grin capturing the joy of the moment. When they exchanged vows, Oliver whispered to Mia, "Now we're officially a team," and hugged her tightly before returning to his place. "I used to think that loving Mia would mean I wasn't loyal to Mom Evelyn," Oliver said, his voice trembling but filled with emotion. "But now I know that love doesn't divide, it multiplies. I don't have just one mom, I have two moms who love me, one in heaven and one right here." His words brought tears to everyone's eyes. Mia, too moved to speak, simply held Oliver's hand tightly and smiled. Thomas turned to Mia, his gaze tender and unwavering. "Mia, you came to me when I had nothing left but grief. You turned this house into a home. I promise to love you, to protect you, and to build a happy family with you every day for the rest of our lives." When the officiant declared them husband and wife, a gentle breeze swept through the garden, carrying the scent of lilies and wildflowers, as if Evelyn herself were blessing the moment. The reception was filled with laughter and joy. Eleanor, who had once opposed their relationship, stood to offer a toast. "I was wrong," she admitted. "Mia isn't just a nanny. She's the woman who brought smiles back to this family, and I'm proud to call her my daughter-in-law." As night fell, the new family of three danced under the twinkling lights. Oliver glanced up at the starry sky and whispered, "Thank you, Mom Evelyn. I know you're watching over us." In that moment, their love felt complete. It wasn't about replacing what had been lost, but about healing, growing, and finding joy again. It was a journey from sorrow to happiness, made possible by an 8-year-old boy with unshakable determination and boundless love. After the wedding, life for Thomas, Mia, and Oliver became filled with joy and laughter. Mia officially moved into the main house, transforming it completely. The walls that once echoed with silence now resonated with Oliver's laughter, Thomas's soft hums as he cooked breakfast, and the gentle melodies Mia played on the piano in the evenings. Each corner of the house carried new memories, ones filled with warmth and love. Thomas, once a work-obsessed CEO, now spent more time at home. Weekends were dedicated to baking with Mia and Oliver or simply sitting in the garden under the sun, savoring each moment of peace. Oliver, taking on his role as the big brother in Laming, constantly found ways to make his parents laugh and never stopped dreaming up new plans in his beloved purple notebook. One bright spring morning, Mia stood at the kitchen door, her hands nervously clutching a small box. Sunlight streamed through the windows, bathing the room in a golden glow as she approached Thomas. "I have something to show you," she said softly. Inside the box was a tiny knitted baby sock. For a moment, Thomas said nothing, his eyes widening with surprise. Then, as the realization sank in, his face broke into a wide, joyful smile. He pulled Mia into his arms, his voice trembling as he said, "We're going to have another miracle in this family." The news brought a wave of excitement to their household. For months, they prepared with eager anticipation. Oliver, now officially the big brother, carefully picked out toys and clothes for the baby. He even wrote in his notebook, "Promise to protect and love my little sister forever." On a crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves fell gently in the garden, the first cry of a baby girl filled the room. Mia gave birth to a healthy daughter with stormy gray-blue eyes like Thomas's and a gentle smile like her own. They named her Lily, a name that honored Evelyn's favorite flower and symbolized new beginnings. Oliver, his eyes sparkling with joy, was the first to hold his baby sister. He looked at her with unconditional love and said, "I promise I'll always protect you. I'll be the best big brother in the world." In the days that followed, their little family basked in their newfound happiness. Thomas often joked that Mia had brought not one but two miracles into his life. And under the soft golden light of autumn, as the family sat together in their garden full of blooms, they knew that true love never ends, it only grows in the most magical and unexpected ways.